this is not just about buying souls, right? You're actually learning your community. You're actually learning about something that where there's a huge wealth transfer. Obviously, don't get me wrong. Listen, real estate is a wealth transfer, but the foreclosure industry is a different type of beast.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Trending Podcast. I've got a guest here, Chris Brown. He has a very interesting niche that he's here to talk about today. It's cool that he's found a way to help people that truly need it and has turned that into a thriving business. And he has a lot of experience in this field. And it's one of those things that I don't think a lot of people have come into contact with in the last few years. And so, Chris, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to the Trending Podcast. Can you tell our guests a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much, Ian. I really appreciate it. My name is Chris Brown. I am actually the former mayor of Hawthorne, California, in Southern California. Man, I've been through so much over the last 15 years, but I decided to really focus on helping as many homeowners as possible. Over the last 15 years, we haven't had any major impact in terms of foreclosures. And obviously, between 2009 and 2012, millions of people have lost their homes. I was one that was facing four foreclosures. I was able to do short sales then, but that time is coming again where we have over 800,000 properties right now in a notice of default. And we're looking at over 2 million properties that are at least 30 days late. So it's just about getting ahead of the curve and help as many homeowners as possible. And I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, man. It's bittersweet because I think a lot of people have known that something like this might be coming. And I guess the question I have is you said it was 15 years ago that you've seen foreclosures really be a thing.
Yeah, between 2009 and 2012, it was a crazy because people had, 10, 11% seconds in addition to their first.
So when do you think it's going to kind of be really like heavy hitting here? 2025, 6, 7, like what are you seeing for the future? What do you
Within
anticipate?
within the first next 6 months, 100%. And only because of what is really happening. If you pay attention, the market is shifting, and we haven't had banks really pull the plug. There was a lot of moratoriums in place, and during COVID 2020 to 2022, but banks are starting to unravel, and so are people's incomes. So things are starting to change.
I'm glad that you mentioned the people's income. I talk about this a lot. I've got a handful of other podcasts where I talk to the community in Austin, Texas. One of the things that I kind of harp on, I almost whine about, and I think people get sick of it, but AI is a different kind of trend where it's actually an industry shift. And I think that that's impacting a lot more jobs than other things that have impacted jobs in the past. People were like, "Oh, now that you have websites, you don't need salespeople," and like that kind of stuff happened over the years. But I think AI is a whole different beast, and it's going to impact a lot of jobs, and that is going to put people into that money situation, like you were saying, where they have to make a serious decision. They have college debt. We have a lot of people with college debt, high credit card payments, probably got hit with crypto issues, right? Like, because that was up and down for a little bit. And we talked about car. Did I say car payments?
No, you're right. Correct.
Things that are, and then the price of just living and food, the price of just shelter in general. You take all of those things and then remove some of the jobs from the market. It's going to impact us. And I am not what do you call them, a doomsdayer or whatever. I'm not that person. But I think this is a real chance to think about this and then and think about how you want to position yourself in the market. And that's why it was so important for me to be able to bring you on for this. So can you tell us a little bit about like your business? And I know you said that you've been through this.
Absolutely. Around 2008, I owned about four properties in area called Playa Vista, California, and also owned another 3,200 square foot home in Hancock Park. And I was young, 26, 27 years old, spread myself thin, and obviously everyone was doing pretty well during that boom from 2005 to 2008, and I was one of those individuals that actually reaped the benefits and also helped a lot of people. But I did a lot of irresponsible things, like take out seconds, and had four car notes. That was total $4,600 a month in car notes. I had $28,000 in mortgages. making great income. However, it hit the fan. And this time is a little different. We have homeowners that are foreclosing at 4 or 5% interest rates. Why is that? Things are changing. Like you mentioned, AI, jobs are consolidating, and things are going to be a lot different this time. But the difference between now and before, people actually have a little bit of equity. So there's still a little time to help as many homeowners as possible. In a year and a half, it may be a little different, but right now there's time to help as many homeowners as possible. There's a reason why I decided to launch foreclosures on Instagram, which I've owned that handle since 2012. And so I had the Adamant brothers, a lot of other people have literally tried to, get in contact with me regarding this handle because I knew this was going to happen again. And it is important that we get like-minded individuals to help as many homeowners as possible over the next 3 to 5 years.
We know that real estate is in cycles, and so it's wise to understand the cycles and the shifts. And there are so many people that are, frankly, COVID babies is what I'm going to call them, and it's agents that just they haven't been through the cycles. It's one thing to not have been through, but it's a whole different beast to not like learn the history of the cycles that have happened in real estate. And so you're poised to be in a position to again help a lot of people that are in this place because I know a lot of people lost their houses because they weren't prepared. They were ill prepared. And so can you tell me a little bit about what like how you can help people and what and before we go into that, I want to talk about this being a lead source. What you're doing, and for agents that are watching, agents, brokers, team leaders, if you're ready to be able to help people, this is one of those insane lead sources. We talk about helping people as realtors. This is something where people will truly need help, not just like a wish, like a floating dream or desire, like, oh, I heard one day that maybe I should do this. No, no, no. People are in dire straits and they truly need someone who's there to care for them and to help them through this process. And so that's what this allows you to do. So you want to talk about a loyal lead, and that's as hot as they come. This is where Chris is going to have kind of the largest market share that I can envision. So anyway, tell us a little bit about what your business is and how you're helping people.
Great. Listen, in 2009, I worked for a law firm called Feldman Roland. I watched this law firm charge people losing their homes $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in retainer fees just to, give them more time in addition to turn around and do short sales. And I watched that happen. I watched the law firm collect a lot of money, and the law firm was kind of learning on its own at the same time. And with this time coming back around, I decided that it was very important because I know I watched a lot of homeowners cry and lose their home or, move away because of what was happening. And this time I was just thinking about it's probably time to lead with compassion. And I think as licensed real estate agents and even investors, and you just think about the opportunity to help people. And that's the reason why I decided to partner with a company called Legal Shield. They could definitely help you. And we're talking about literally $100 a month to actually give yourself more time.
Now we
To
got we got to pause right there. We got to
Okay.
pause right there because I know a lot of people have heard that name before. I know I had heard that name in the past. Please continue and then elaborate like why that company is important in this context. That's really really critical, I think, for the audience to understand.
Legal Shield has been around 53 years. Okay. So they've seen 4 or 5 cycles. And now they have a whole real estate foreclosure department that can actually help you maximize. Yeah, they did. Well, listen, I didn't know until earlier this year. They have a whole foreclosure department that can really help a lot of homeowners. And, while people are paying, modification companies $1,500, $2,000 a month, this is a licensed law firm that's in all 50 states that can help homeowners in all 50 states. And we're talking about, $100 a month. Talk about $3 a day for you to stay in your own home and try to figure out what's best for you and your family. And just to have a law firm that can back you and also support your realtor, it can be a complete game changer and it could be wealth changing for the homeowner. You could weather this storm, and guess what? You still have that asset through this storm. But there's a lot of people that don't know about Legal Shield. And if they did, obviously, you guys know it used to be called Prepaid Legal. It was bought out for about $600 million in 2012. But they have a whole foreclosure department. And that department is really changing and helping a lot of people throughout the United States. And I'm looking to expand that with like realtors, like-minded investors that want to first help homeowners. We want to keep communities strong first before we, there's listen, homeowners receive so much information. When they're facing foreclosures, they're receiving 200 or 300 phone calls a month. They're receiving 200 to 300 letters. How many people are actually really trying to help homeowners stay in their home? How many? Not many. So if you have a little compassion, you can help a whole lot of people. And you also, the truth is 3 to 5 may qualify for a modification, but at least you gave them more time and give a little dignity to walk away with some kind of income. And as a realtor, they're definitely going to want to work with you.
I've been in this situation before without using the support of Legal Shield, and I had someone who she was on a deferment plan, and she came to me, I think, with a week before going into like the legit foreclosure, something to that effect. And she said, Ian, I need help. I was like, well, I wish you would have reached out a little sooner. I would love to be able to put it on the market and like try to maximize your earn. So we go through this whole process, and she said, I don't have time. Ultimately, we didn't have time. The house was left to her. She thought that she just didn't have to pay her mortgage, not that there was a process to go through an actual deferment. And it doesn't matter how or why. What happens is people get either afraid or embarrassed, or they don't know, or maybe even apathetic. Maybe she's like, oh, I'll figure it out, right? Or maybe I can get out of it. Doesn't matter why. But she ended up in a situation where she had to sell. I had an investor that was ready to go. Okay. I have a lot of investors, and I'm sure you do too. Anybody who's listening to this that are ready to go, they're like chomping at the bit, drooling, waiting for this. But I told this investor, I said, if we're going to make this work, she's got to be taken care of. And so when we walked away, she ended up with something like $20,000 in her pocket. The investor got a smoking deal on this house, and it needed some work. So it ended up being a flip. And then I got paid my commission. And so it all ended up working out. But that's not the case for everything. Sometimes people have to deal with attorneys and timelines and banks that are like, you need to get this taken care of. And that's where, and not everybody has an investor that's ready to scoop things up. So
Right.
that's where this is quite interesting, because I think more people are actually in that camp where they don't have the time, they don't know who to call, and they need the help, and it's last minute. And that's where this is really going to come into play, I think, in the near future.
Absolutely. When you're talking about someone that receives a notice of default, notice of default, obviously, if you guys don't know, that's the after you miss your first 3 payments, property goes to notice of default here in the United States. That's for single family res or traditional residential. Not for commercial. Commercial is a little more aggressive. But then you receive, after another 90 days, you receive something called notice of sale. And that notice of sale gives you anywhere from an 18-day to a 45-day window to sell your property. Otherwise, the bank literally just takes the property back from you or sells it at an auction. But because we partnered with Legal Shield is able to step in and give you that breathing room, give you that time. And I think most homeowners need that, deserve that. When you purchase a home, that's a 30-year contract. And I don't think people realize that. That's a 30-year agreement for most cases. But it's very important that we can actually have people represented by a reputable law firm and that can actually step in for you and actually help you get more time. And most people just need more time, make the right decision, especially through the holiday season. And that's why we decided to partner with Legal Shield.
I had a closing, I think it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, and I was on the buyer side, and my buyer, it was tight, right? We didn't have much room to budge. I found out that the seller had to bring $80,000 to closing,
Wow.
right? And again, I think that there are a lot of people that are in this situation and need help. They truly need help, because you had so many people that relocated or changed jobs or changed positions in life during the COVID era, and might be drowning in silence.
Correct.
And so it really is powerful. And I know this is a lead generation essentially podcast, like what's working for agents, but I think that this is one of those things that if you are set up and you're ready, it will be working a lot because people need it. So, and I always say people move for love or money. And that doesn't change here. That's exactly what happens. So tell me a little bit about like how you see the lead process or what you're experiencing when you're looking at foreclosures online.
When I'm looking at for foreclosures online, obviously I'm looking for certain areas. Obviously, I'm currently here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Henderson, Nevada, and I watched the uptick over the last 2 years of properties. It was only like 40 foreclosures 2 years ago. Now there's 400, and that's the actual trend around the United States right now.
Can you say those numbers again? I missed it.
It was 42 foreclosures 2 years ago. Now there's over 400. So we're
Okay.
talking about a 10x just in Henderson,
Increase.
Nevada, which is the third safest city in the United States. Once you do your homework and look it up,
Well, yeah, think about that. So not even like I remember when people were choosing to come to Texas, one of the options other than Florida, other than Nashville was Las Vegas. That was a
right?
very popular option for people in larger cities that wanted to relocate and kind of shake up their lives a bit. And so for that to be where because this was only 2-3 years ago. So for this to now be in a situation where there are over 400 foreclosures, and like, what are these people supposed to do? What are people doing when they don't know about you? What do you think is happening?
People are just walking away. And I've literally seen some properties with blue tape on the door. Individuals that know what that means. That means that property has received a notice of default or notice of sale. And these people are just packing up, moving away because they don't know. They just don't have the information. And I that's the reason why I decided I wanted to partner with as many like-minded individuals. I want to help as many individuals. Listen, there's 41,000 zip codes in the United States. 41,000 zip codes. And this is only going to grow because of this time, and it's important that we get this information out. There's a reason why they don't talk about a lot about foreclosures in real estate exams, because the bankers are really cleaning up, and they kind of remove that 20 years out of the whole real estate, especially in California. They really remove that. Kamala Harris wrote a couple bills also that kind of kept outside investors from becoming sharks to homeowners. But I always thought it's always very important to, and this definitely in this season, is lead with grace. And if you are a leader in your community, help as many people as possible. Stay in their home, and you'll become that resource, regardless.
Do you think if somebody was a brand new agent today, let's say they were starting today, is this a worthwhile focus or investment for them?
100%. A reason why is because this is not just about buying souls, right? You're actually learning your community. You're actually learning about something that where there's a huge wealth transfer. Obviously, don't get me wrong. Listen, real estate is a wealth transfer, but the foreclosure industry is a different type of beast. There's literally I had an opportunity in 2009, 2010 with my father to buy properties in Henderson. I didn't know that it was going to be what it was. This is my first real season in foreclosures, and I could have bought condos here for 30, 40,000. Those condos are $500,000 now. So if you're able to weather that storm, obviously you can get extremely wealthy. However, if you're able to help someone get out of their situation, a lot of people are ready to move on. They could be going through divorce, they can, whatever reason, they can be ready to walk. They're going to remember you 2 or 3 years from now when it's time to repurchase a property because you helped them in the time of need.
In the fires of depression, the phoenix is born. Every time there is a cycle like this where a lot of people are in pain, there are others that do extremely well and they win. I have to do air quotes because this is about humanity, right? And there's a kind of like a struggle right now between what's real and what's fake everywhere we look. And I'm saying like the people that win should be the people that help humans and each other is really what I'm saying. And so I think what you're doing is it has a connotation assigned to it. But I think anybody who has that mentality needs to step back, pause, plan, and think what other options do people have? And what options are you offering them as an agent? Right? I have so many agents that I talk to across the country that or that I sponsor or that I mentor, and they'll say something like, "Well, I don't know what to talk about." And I was like, "What do you mean you don't know what to talk about? Do you own a house?" Most are no. 50% of agents in the United States don't own a house. That was a stat from like 4 years ago. It's probably higher. It's probably like 75% of agents have never purchased their own home. And I don't say that as a slam. I say that as okay. Well, if you've not gone through the process, then how do you articulate the emotion and the pain and or the numbers to somebody with confidence? And that same thing's going to happen when foreclosures rise. That same thing happens when you're dealing with an investor, when you're dealing with coastal properties, when you're dealing with multifamily, and when you're dealing with ranches. So like this is another solid niche to really focus on that can turn your life around because while turning the lives around of others.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. And this last market crash in 2008, there were homeowners, and the homeowners were actually realtors
Oh yeah.
losing losing their own home. They were losing their
Because
home left and right.
everybody just does what someone before them told them to do. And I'm not saying
Exactly.
that's bad or good, but you almost have to evaluate who's telling you the thing, whatever the thing is. If somebody's saying go up and buy a bunch of properties and then you'll never have to worry about money again, it's like, well, do you know how to manage them? Are you leveraging debt to do it? Like, what? Tell me a little more. You can't just
Exactly.
take the direct. And now with all the different LLMs, the chat part, you've got ChatGPT, you've got Grok, all that, and everybody's like they're just typing it in. Oh, there's a foreclosure. How do I find more people with foreclosures? Like that's not necessarily the answer. You've got somebody here that you can talk to that coaches, right? Like teaches people how to do this, agents how to help clients
Correct.
get out of this situation.
Yeah, so not only do I, obviously furnish your leads for your local code or your city, I actually walk you through the process and, hold your hand. And I always tell realtors, if you lead with compassion and grace, don't be too quick to try to sell the property and sell and get rid of the deal, or just try to make a quick buck. When you help a homeowner, I guarantee if you help a homeowner stay in their home, they're going to refer 3 or 4 more people to you. Not just people that's ready to buy homes, other people that's also in their situation. So if you lead with compassion, it could be a complete game changer.
You know, I tell most of my clients and just people that ask on a whim, right? Don't sell your house. I mean, it's painful to say, but it's the truth. Don't sell your house unless there's something crazy happening and you have to, if you need the asset, or if you're leveraging that equity to purchase something different or better, fine. But most people, why would you sell your house? And I'm not talking about the house you're living in. I am talking about the house you're living in. But if you have an investment property or a rental or something, don't sell it. But the people that will need to, the people that are going into foreclosure, they don't have a choice,
They don't
and
have a
so, or may
choice.
not have a choice, and that's where having this conversation is vital. Okay, so you have. I heard you say something about zip codes. So you're saying you have the ability to help people get leads for foreclosures. You train people how to handle these foreclosures. You connect people with attorneys for the foreclosures. And this is everywhere across the United States.
Correct. I have a slogan that says own your zip code. Be where your feet are. If you know that everyone at your local Starbucks, maybe that should be the place where you should start. When you know your community and you're able to be that star in the community, if you help 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 individuals in your community, in your area, in your zip code, people will come to you automatically for help. So proof over promise. You want to help as many people locally, and then kind of expand throughout the city.
I've heard that phrase before.
Mm-hmm. Sharon.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Sharon Srivatsa was the president of Real. Now he's on the board. Now he's the president, or sorry, partner of acquisition.com. He has a lot of quips that many of us have kind of taken to heart. And that's one of them. And it was such a good one, the proof over promise, because I think that happened for many, many years in real estate where people would say something like, let's say a realtor's on an interview, a listing appointment interview, and a seller says, well, how many homes have you sold? And they say, oh, well, my team sold 700 this year. It's like, that's not you. And they're not
Right.
going to know that. And so that's actually manipulative.
Right.
But that's just what you're taught to do. So proof over promise. If you can not just tell them, so I like to show people a map of my listings. That shows exactly what areas I've sold in. It
Beautiful.
shows whether I've sold or bought. They have it on websites. You can go on Zillow right now. If you're an agent, you can go on Zillow and maybe Realtor and some of the other sites, but Zillow's looks good. If you've entered your listings and your sold data, I don't
Mhm.
ever put the prices because in Texas we're a non-disclosure state. But if you listed the addresses, you can actually see it on the map. You can also do it on Google Maps, and there's a bunch of ways that you can do this, but have a map of the things that you're selling. Anyway, sorry, that's a little tangent. Okay.
No, that's actually really good. We actually talked about that. We closed a property here in Las Vegas. It was a foreclosure. Older lady was losing her property. She had about $100,000 in equity. And it was a lead that I literally given a young lady here and in her zip code. She actually decided to do the work and reach out to the homeowners. And the lady told her no a couple times. And guess what? When that notice to sell hit the door, she called, we closed the deal. We had an investor, back end investor. She walked away with 70 something $1,000. Everyone won, but she didn't lose everything. So I think that's very important.
I think that's extremely important. Yeah. And just a small bit of history. I've sold properties outside of, I'm in the Austin, Texas area, but while living here, I've sold properties or helped facilitate, I'll say, the sale of a lot of properties in many cities. And a lot of situations are dire, right? Like that happens a lot where people just, they need to get out of them. So if you even have a network, if you have a network and a tool, you're almost unstoppable, right? Like you
Correct.
have the ability to scale as large as you want to be able to scale, as long as it's, what did you say, with grace, right? As long as you know that you're doing the right thing, because a lot of people get into this business and they're like, I'm going to make a lot of money. It's like, well, I don't know if you've listened to any coaches ever
Mhm.
in real estate, but they
Right.
all say if you do something that helps people, you will be helped yourself. What is it? What's the Zig Ziglar? Help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. That's just what it is. And so this is one of those where I'm really interested to see where it goes. And I think one of the challenges is going to be people are going to get, there are going to be so many foreclosures and so many people that are asking for help. Kind of like back in COVID when so many people wanted to buy a house because the interest rates were low and some people just couldn't handle it. I was one of those people. I had so many people coming at me that I'm like, and I still made more money than a lot of people, most
Right.
people in
Exactly.
this area as a real estate agent.
No, you're 100% correct. And that's where I think our partnership, the Legal Shield, really helps because they're able to allow the homeowner to get more time to be able to think. Homeowners need to be able to just be able to breathe. And they're going to say, you know what? Ian is the person that gave me this information. So I'm going to talk to my family, and you know what? And you know what? I'd rather walk away with my $100,000 because I can't afford this modification. It happens. Modifications are going up right now, and why are they going up? Because the bank's not going to modify something down when you have equity. They're going to stack it on the back. Now your payment's up additional 400. You couldn't afford the payment before. They may give it to you because you may qualify financially. However, you may have to have something I call a come to Jesus meeting with yourself. And you say, you know what, let me call in back and let me move on and I'll, maybe come back in 2 or 3 years and buy again. But just to be able to have that option instead of, getting these, foreclosure notice slapped on your door and getting a bunch of cash for keys, get out, you're losing your home. If you're a licensed realtor anywhere in the United States, you have an opportunity to help your whole community. And that's why we're here.
The last thing I kind of want to touch on with these types of listings is if someone's backed into a corner and they need to sell, they're going to listen to what you say. Whereas many people, when you're on a listing appointment, if you haven't built up the right amount of rapport, they'll listen, but they still want what they want. Like they have a price in mind and they're like, no, this is what my house is worth. A lot of times, if they're in this situation, there is no negotiation. You have to list it where, in my educated opinion and my practical and pragmatic experience, I say should be listed. Now, they don't really have a leg to stand on. You're saying, I can get this done, but this is what it needs to be priced at in order to move in this amount of time. It is
Correct.
a hard rule.
Yeah, it is. However, you have data and you have other homes in the area that may be facing foreclosure. And it's important. And sometimes I share that information, reluctantly. Sometimes I share the information when you're dealing with a homeowner that's being a little stubborn. However, you give them the information and say, look, right around the corner from you, house is larger, better condition, and they're losing their house too. If this house sells before your house sells, you're gonna have a huge problem. And just give them that information. But when they hear from a law firm, tell them it's time, it's a different set of ears. Now they're coming back to you and saying, you know what, it's time to move on.
So we're in third quarter of 2025, and Give me an example of a recent zip code that you pulled up and what we're talking about for like number of leads, like an area.
A recent area, can I just use Las Vegas? Las Vegas,
Sure.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
1,585 foreclosures in the city of Las Vegas.
1,500.
1,585.
So
Another,
1,600 foreclosures by the end of by December. How many agents do you think are working this niche?
less than 10. Less than 10.
Now
I
imagine
talked
if
to my,
every agent
Mhm.
ended up getting, 115 sales just from foreclosures.
Yes, and this is about getting ahead of the curve. You don't want to wait until the bank takes the property back. It's a REO. If you're the person that helps the homeowners ahead of time, you become that person. You become that guy, that shining star in your community. So I'm telling everyone, don't wait until the property's gone or try to, get a homeowner, force them to sell right away. Giving them more time is the best thing for everyone because you're really learning everything about your area, your community. And I think it's a real big opportunity for you guys in real estate right now. If you're a licensed agent or not, if you even if you're an investor, I think this is a great opportunity right now, and it can be life changing. And you can also help a lot of families right now.
It's so interesting because you use the phrase REO, and I don't know if everybody knows what that
Mm.
is, but that's what comes after. Can you
Yeah,
go over that a little bit,
yeah.
like what that is and how it impacts
Yeah,
people?
so the bank repos the property. And sometimes if the property's not sold at the auction steps, the property literally goes into a phase like a holding tank. And they need licensed agents to move those properties. So sometimes some of these banks reach out to licensed agents, the best agent in the area, and give them a list of properties to sell to off market, to not off market, sorry, to sell right when the property goes to sale. So they clean up the property and they relist the property. But recently, probably the last 4 or 5 years, that's been a lot less of the case. What's happening is you have institutional investors right now, and that's a whole different conversation. They're buying 300 properties a day, you guys. But we don't have to lose the battles to institutional investors if you're here on the ground. If you're 90 days before that happens, you can help your community. Now, people are coming to you. Just imagine for a second, you're in Las Vegas, Nevada, and you help 2 or 3 homeowners. And now you have proof of promise. You have 2 or 3 actual properties that you sold. You help homeowners avoid the complete foreclosure, and you tagged every homeowner in that area. Said, "Listen, I help these families, walk away with some dignity and some type of income." I think that's where we need to really push. And that's the reason why I just got back from Kansas City. I saw 34 foreclosures in Wichita area. Also, there were I was shocked in Missouri. There was 399 foreclosures in Kansas City, Missouri, and of course that's a lot more than I actually thought it was going to be. And I just think it's a huge opportunity for licensed agents to really get out in the community and learn your zip code, help as many people as possible. Have a meeting at your local cafe, and you can bring a lot of realtors, a lot of like-minded individuals, but it takes a community to make this happen.
Yeah. I've already got a tab on my website because I have a lot of tabs on my website for that kind of stuff, right? Like I've got VA buyers, dog owners, homes with a pool. This is a tailored solution for people that are in a situation. And if you have an expertise or a tool that can help them, you should add that to your website. If you don't have a website, please talk to one of us. That's another conversation for a different day. Chris, man, it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. If people wanted to get a hold of you, where would you recommend they reach out?
If you're looking for a list of foreclosures, your zip code, you want to actually help as many people as possible, go ahead and DM me at foreclosures on Instagram, and we can definitely get you started. And definitely want to educate you about your community and about foreclosures before we get you out in the field. So definitely follow me at foreclosures, and let's take things to a whole nother level.
I'm going to make sure to put your full contact information in the description below for anybody who's watching and in the show notes for anybody who's listening on Google, Spotify, or Apple podcasts as well. Chris, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I think this is going to be a good thing, but a big thing that will end up helping a lot of people, a lot of agents kind of change their lives. And so thanks for taking the time. I appreciate you again.
Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ian.
Have a good one.
You too.